Hi, my topic is all about quality, methodologies, and standards for project management. So, our objective is to provide products or services that are of a consistently high quality. You'll need a methodology or this methodology for managing projects that focuses on continuous process improvement initiatives and adherence to applicable industry standards. So in this course, we learn best practice industry standards for quality that can be used for effective project management, such as the ISO standard. You also learn about tools used in process improvement that are based on the Lean and Six Sigma methodologies. So this course will assist learners in preparing for the PMI, PMP certification exam, which is registered, no? And PM book, PMI, PMP, CAPM are registered trademarks of the Project Management Institute, INC. So if you want to become to have this certificate as a manager, or it's a requirements in your um, career that you want to take, so you'll need these certifications. So before you take these certifications, you need 3 years experience in project manager. So next is quality methodologies and standards for project management. So, consistently providing high quality products and services requires use of continuous process improvement initiatives and adherence to applicable industry standards. So, this course explains some of the most popular quality methodologies and standards that project management professionals use today. We look to at Lean and Six Sigma, as well as some of the specific Lean tools that are used for quality management and continuous improvement. We'll also look at four different classes of quality standards, including the ISO standard. So, using Lean for quality improvement. Um, Lean was originally developed in Japan for manufacturing and production, but is now widely used in many organizations. Rather than optimizing individuals' areas through single improvements initiatives, the focus is on continually optimizing the flow of goods and services throughout the various department and ultimately to the customer. So activities that add no value are eliminated. So this includes waste as well as the reduction of lead time from when a customer or orders a product until it is received. So Lean is a methodology that is used to improvement to improve the efficiency of processes and quality of products and services through the elimination of waste. So the concentration is on the customer and the perspective of value in all aspects of the process that deliver customer value. So the next is, let's go through a quick overview of the four main stages of Lean. So our stage one is to identifies an opportunity where waste can be eliminated. So in our stage 2 is we analyze the current processes and design a new solution. So in our stage in ours in we have in stage 3, we implement the design for changes in the specific areas of the selected process. So our stage 4 is we continuously receive the results. So first, our stage 1 is identification of opportunity. The first stage of the lean methodology includes the analysis and review of a potential opportunity that can be benefit from improvements. Often, the improvement can be made by additional training of employees as to how process should be done. Since value is highly dependent on the value perceived by the customer, communication may be required to ensure that this is clearly understood. Even though this understanding is critical to identify an opportunity, it should be used to continually validate the customer's um, definition of value, based on which aspects of the process the customer sees the most value in and is willing to pay for. Opportunities for improvement are selected for further study. So our stage 2 is solution design. So as part of developing the solution design, an opportunity for improvement that was selected is analyzed by observing the process from beginning to the end. Um, in this example, the master schedule is communicated to principal process, such as develop mail piece, compile names, verify credit and address, that are all involved in developing and preparing to distribute a piece of mail. Individual activities are identified and the time spent on each is um, recorded as shown in this on this diagram. By understanding all the steps, we can start to identify those that don't add value and that the customer is unwilling to pay for. Those should be the ones that are selected for possible elimination or reduction of effort. The third one is solution implementation. This is stage 3. We start the implementation of a solution. We probably identified a number of potential areas, but we need to determine which solution should be addressed first. Identifying and prioritizing potential solutions that can be easily implemented, and also provide benefits can be done by determining the impact and implementation effort required. This often referred to as low-hanging fruit, and the goal of continuous improvement is to obtain near perfection. Employees who have been directly involved in the improvements, including suggesting and act on those, are now ready to take ownership of their process. Using lesson learned, team members will continue to generate and act on new ideas im- for improvement. They will also be aware of additional areas that can be further improved in the areas where they are involved. Being initially involved, they continue to find additional ways to eliminate waste uh, and areas where change will have an impact. Having bought into this new way of doing things, they'll monitor the result to determine if the improvement that have been made will be sustained. So yeah. So we next is lean principles. So there are five laws that apply to both Six Sigma and lean and help increase the flow of work while reducing waste and improve customer satisfaction. The law of the market is law upon which all the other laws are derived. This states that the customer is critical to quality and the highest priority. Without customer, you have no business. So all parts of the organization should ensure that the customer are continually satisfied. And the law of flexible states the time that it takes to perform is a process is proportional to the flexible and ability of an organization to make change. The more receptive an organization is to change and process, the shorter the time required for that change to be implemented. So the law of focus states that 2% of activities cause 80% of the problems or delays and is related to the Pareto principle. By identifying where delays originate, more impact can be realized when that delay is then eliminated. So the law of velocity states that the velocity of any process is inversely proportional to the amount of working in progress or WIP. This is of, often referred to as Little's law. The higher the number of unfinished tasks, the slower the process and therefore the longer the lead time. And the law of complexity states that processes that are complex and more non-value and cost rather than poor quality or processes that are performed slowly. Complex products create more waste as well as excess cost and work required. This law is one of the important concepts that supports the value of lean by keeping product of service as simple as possible by removing all activities that don't provide value. And there are 4K concepts that highlight the lean way of thinking with each concept building on the previous one. Value must be defined by the customer in terms of expectations and perceptions, and what they were willing to pay for each part of a process should be understood, and those that create the value identified and optimized. It is important to have a good communication with the customer to understand whether their needs are being satisfied and to be able to change as their needs change. So understanding the value stream includes all activities and processes that are involved in creating value for the customer. For taking a customer's order to its delivery, this includes the identification of waste or non-value steps as well as those that provides value. Includes the suppliers. Others are areas of the organization as well as the customer. In addition to the internal process. So we want to move to where the customer demand creates the pull or initiation of a process rather than relying on historical information or a market forecast. The amount of wait time is reduced or eliminated as the successor activities are not started until the predecessor has been completed. Stock on hand is reduced because we're not creating extra product just in case, but rather just enough product based on the need of an order that has been received. So next is the final concepts, which is built on the result of all the others, is to strive for perfections, which is the ideal product of service required by our customer by continually improving or our product and process. So this includes continually review of the value stream as well as the review of lesson learned from complete efforts and understand and apply those results to identify additional area of improvement. So next is we are here now in Six Sigma for process and quality improvement. So here you can see in our visual aid. And Six Sigma is a methodology based on demanding plan, do, check, act cycle that was originally introduced by Motorola in 1986. So the Six Sigma methodology is compared of five phases. So we have define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. So this often referred to by using the acronym we call DMIC. So yeah. So this method is used extensively in manufacturing and services industry to improve existing process. But can also be used to improve business processes of all types. The method comes from statistics and uses a metric for measuring control quality control. The metric chosen is based on the concept that by measuring the defect per million opportunities process can be analyzed, controlled, and improved. So next is defect per million on opportunities, or DPMO, is shown by a bell curve, a graph, and used to compare the relative performance of a process against a mean. So using Six Sigma and standard deviations, we compare performance to upper or lower specification limits shown on control chart. The bottom of the chart shows that um, shows the plus or minus standard deviations from the mean. So to achieve a level 6 of Six Sigma, or be 6 standard deviations from the mean, our process will be operating at a 99.99997% defect-free level, or only 3.4 defects per million. For most controls charts, two additional limits are identified: upper and lower control limits, which are set at a plus or minus 3 standard deviation. So again, DMIC is the acronym of for the five phases in the Six Sigma process. So define. The first is to define the scope of the study from the customer's point of view. So measure. The second phase chooses the metric to be used to measure and evaluate the current process. So next is analyze. No? The third phase analyze the data and verifies existing defects, including the cause and effects of those defects. Special focus is on identifying the root cause of defects. So the fourth one is improve. So using various techniques, improvements are identified and tested to see if they will reduce or eliminate mistakes and improve the overall results in the improved phase. So the last one is control. The final phase implements control systems to monitor results. So when we change have been truly tested, procedures are established to ensure the improvement can be sustained. So that is our DMAC. So next is one of the key concept in Six Sigma refers to the transfer function. That is y is equals to function of x, and the basic idea of this function is that output. So our output or y's uh, are depending on the value of x, or a function of x. So if we consider the x to represent inputs, then the quality of the value of y or the output depends on the quality of the inputs or x. So our input here is y, and us yeah, and represent uh, sorry, the Six Sigma uses this function to relate the inputs of a process to the output of a process within an organization. Each process has measurable output that becomes the input for next process. The leverage principle enables teams to focus on continuous improvements by improving outputs by analyzing and making change to inputs. A key aspect to understand is that there are multiple inputs for our process, but some are more important than others. Some input affect that hour more than others, including significant function goals that directly influence an organization's key objectives that matter relating to customer value. It is important to understand which activities will help achievement those results. So next is the vital few versus by trivial many is based on the Pareto principle. So where 20% of the inputs account for 80% of the influence on output. Once identified, we can use a structured approach to analyze cause and effect relationship. So quality management practices. Companies need to demonstrate their commitment to continuous improvement to create a competitive advantage. All stakeholders of an organization or project, from operational teams members to upper management, must be fully engaged and committed to quality, improving process, products, and service in their respective areas. So the plan, do, check, act cycle is a key component of quality management and continuous improvement. The plan section identified an opportunity and plans for change for the project efforts. This is the development of a quality of our management. So the do portion refers to the actions where the change is implemented. So the check important is an it iterative process of reviewing through quality control and quality management. Next is during the plan phase. You identify an opportunity that refers to previous developed lessons that we learn as an input of various project plans, including the project quality management plan. During the act phase, additional lessons learned are captured and documented based on the result of the entire project just completed. The result captured should include not only recommendations for things that we're successful, but also identification of areas where the problem were encountered. So the lesson learned process includes defining objects and determining the when lessons learned will be captured, who would be involved of and the in the amount and type of information to collect. Information be captured from as many sources as time and budget will allow. Once captured, the data must be analyzed and verified. Additional information may be needed to put items into proper context. So since key objective of capturing lessons learned is to make things information available, the result should be easily found because of the volume and usage. So this storage is often maintained in a repository or electric database on as knowledge or information base Lesson learned focus on past result and become part of the organization process assets. They should be incorporated into the current projects as well as use the future as similar efforts are being planned. In summary, there are two key quality management practices that results in continuous improvement. So using development model that follows the plan, do, check, act cycle, and collecting all and using lessons learned in planning futures project. So, Kanban and continuous improvement. Kanban is a Japanese word for signal developed by an industrial engineer, sorry, at Toyota as a way to improve and maintain a high level of production in the 1940s. It is primarily used in manufacturing to signal when to put the materials into the value upstream by pulling in materials, producing components only when needed. Production and excess inventory is eliminated. Kanban pool is a method to control the flow of production through the factory based on customer demand in pool system. Work items put are pulled into the queue upon request. This way, very high level example. A request by the customer pulls or signals production starts and product processes delivery deliver the result to satisfy a request. So a previous process only makes that what is needed to replenish what was used or to maintain an agreed upon level, equalizing production quality and avoiding fluctuations and eliminating waste. These maps can be used as a part of Kaizen event to fine-tune the process. And there are many ways that Kanban can benefit an organization. Clear and precise manual and visual methods through the use of Kanban cards can be used to control and easily adapt processes. Kanban increasingly simplicity and agility by reducing unnecessary inventory and work to produce product that haven't been requested yet. Costs can be reduced by preventing excess production by removing potential defect from items sitting in inventory, as well as not allowing defect to move forward. The overall quality of the production can be improved. Inventory is reduced as limits on overcapacity levels for process and determined. And production of inventory for us just in case is replaced by just in time production. Waste is minimized in terms of overproduction, unnecessary inventory, and the necessity for additional floor space. Productivity is increased as control is able to be maintained for the production line by synchronizing all the steps. Just-in-time flow consists of two essential elements: the ability to manage flow and the ability to control inventory. Continuous improvement is accelerated by the promoting and sustaining of an analysis efforts, which are striving to always improve the current process. And finally, communication of the need of what is to be done reduces shortage and requirements for expediting requests that were overlooked. All of this together will provide the high value that is expected and often demanded by the customers. So the value streaming mapping. The value streaming is a key component of Lean, which identifies value, not just efficiencies. It is the entire set of activities and resources that provide a product or service to the customer. When waste occurs, the flow of the value is disrupted and quality is decreased. So the entire value stream is shown on a value stream map documenting each individual step or activity, starting with the customer or the completing the when the order has been fulfilled. Value stream mapping not only shows the activities that provide the value, but also identifies where waste is present and quality improvements can be made. Even though value stream mapping is usually focused on optimizing entire process, it, it can also be amplified to smaller individual to improve quality. This example shows both the flow of material and information from suppliers to custom based on a daily schedule. A weekly schedule is received from the customer from which the production manager creates creates daily production schedules that are provided to the fabrication, painting and inspection departments. Through the development of a value stream map, each of the three functions have been analyzed and number of operators as well as the cycle time has been recorded. The analysis of this current map can be used to determine where efficiencies can be achieved through modification to activities as well as reduction or elimination of waste or non-valued added process. The first step is to determine which full process or single activity should be analyzed. This depends on the types of problems or inefficiencies that need to be addressed. The second step creates a current state map including all the activities currently being done from the beginning of the process to the completion, including gathering any data of time required to perform activities, including wait times between activities. This will help identify areas of waste and possible costs. So now let's use an example to illustrate the steps. In step 1, the project manager selects the pre procurement process because problem continue to occur in the acquisition of materials during her projects. She then creates a current state of map of the procurement process. It includes the duration of the steps in process and resources who are performing the activities. So in summary, value stream mapping allows you to identify obstacles or ways that are disrupting process flow. Value stream maps show all the steps or activities involved in producing output, and you can use them to show areas where process improvement will create value. So ISO 9000 quality principles. ISO refers to the international organization for standardization. An independent non-government organization with 162 member countries covering all aspects of technology and business. ISO provides standards for requirements, specifications, and guidelines that can be used consistently to help ensure that materials, products, and services meet their intended purposes. The standard also ensure that products and services are reliable, safe, and maintain high quality. The ISO management system standards help an organization identify and document what procedures need to be followed. The adherence to these procedures is audited on a regular basis to ensure that the organization is meeting its objective. Through these activities, an organization is able to fulfill the emphasis of ISO of say what do what you say. So the third one is this: the first principle of ISO is to maintain a focus on the customer. An organization depends on customers, and therefore the needs of the customer should be continually reviewed and understood on a project, even though the customer did not identify as a requirement on the statement of the work. Importance of integrating and consolidating information from the current system application. That was the main purpose of initiating the new project. Once the need was understood, specific requirements could be identified to integrate and consolidate that current information. In addition to just meeting that specific requirements, we actually able to exceed initial expectations by being able to re-engineer some current process that were the result of elimination imposed by the previous systems, organizational silos, and technology. Next. So the ISO leadership principle advises a consistent understanding of purpose and direction of the organization. In changing environment, people must be fully engaged in accepting and achieving new objectives, which often include new process and maybe even new job roles. This involvement should encourage consideration of all stakeholder needs, both internal and external to the organization, rather than being driven by a small number where additional input is not solicited or included. Organizational change is inevitable, but it is much easier if the version uh, the the new vision and purpose is clearly defined and communicated. Through these changes, it is still important to maintain shared values, fairness, trust, and ethical role models within the entire organization. So ISO 9000 focus on how desired result may be achieved when activities and the related resources are managed as a process. These often include review the interfaces of activities in bit within the between various functional units of the organization. To achieve the result, it is important to focus on resources and methods that will be necessary to improve the key activities. Measuring and evaluating risks and the impact of activities on stakeholders in the making change where necessary will lead to the continuous improvement necessary to meet the new desired result. Continually improving the overall performance of the organization should always be recognized as a key objective. So, the culture of the organization should reflect the importance of making continued improvements, and an objective regarding this should be established for every individual in the organization. Continual improvement targets should be set and measures put in place to track progress towards those targets. Improvements that are made should be recognized and acknowledged. This not only reflects by the importance to the organization but also recognize those responsible. So CCMI registered this topic uh, examines the CMMI quality standard. CCMMI stands for capability, maturity, model, integration, and is all about the optimization of process. Currently, there are three CMM extensions from the initial CMMI. framework to address specific areas of interest. CMMI for development focus on activities of the development organization, including requirements, technical solutions, product integration, verification, and validation. CMMI for services focus on activities for providing quality services for customers and end users and was released in November of 2010. CMMI for acquisition focuses on activities for initiating and managing acquisition of products and services and was released in 2007. CMMI was created jointly by the Software Engineering Institute at Carnegie Mellon University and the United States Department of Defense to improve existing software development process. The CMMI developed model consists of the best practices for developing activities, including project and process management, systems, hardware, and software engineering, and the other supporting process used in software development and maintenance. It contains activities that models provide guidance, but the usage within the organization is depend on many factors, including the organizational structure, size, and type of business. These process areas and practices should be evaluated based on the constraints of an organization as well as the business environment. There are three categories for each model component. Uh, we have required, expected, and informative. Required components are essential for a process area to be able to achieve improvements in their process. This includes specific and generic goals used to determine whether a process area has been satisfied as part of an appraisal. Expected components are those that refer to the activities needed to achieve a required component. These are the specific practices and generic practices that guide those performing appraisals or establishing improvements. Informatives components help users of models understand the required and expected components. This include any informative materials and notes, examples, reference, or other helpful information. So, two types of information paths are associated with capability and maturity levels. To achieve a level, an organization must satisfy all the goals of the process area that have been identified for improvement. This level correspond to process improvement approach called representations. Continuous representations enables you to achieve levels of capability which represent the state of the organization's process relative to an individual process area. Capability levels help improve processes in a given process area. Stage representation enables you to select multiple areas in which to have achieve levels of maturity. This represents the overall organization's process compared to the model as a rule. Maturity levels support identifications of areas where continuous improvement across multiple areas is possible. There are 22 process areas that represent a cluster of related practices that satisfy a set of goals to enable improvements in that area. This organized into four categories or areas. The processes grouped into project management include activities relating to defining, planning, deploying, implementing, monitoring, controlling, appraising, measuring, and improving process. These are organizational process definition, process focus, performance management, performance, and organizational training. Project management process are related to the CMMI. development area of interest including activities related to planning, monitoring, and controlling the project. It also includes the development of the project plan involved of key stakeholders, obtaining commitment to the plan and maintaining the plan. This process includes integrated project management, project monitoring and control, project planning, quantity project management, required management, risk management, and supply agreement management. The engineering process area covers development and maintenance activities toward product development or process improvement. This includes production integration, required development, technical solution, validation, and verification. The support process area covers the support of product development and maintenance and includes causal analysis and resolutions. Configuration management, decision analysis and resolution, measurement and analysis and process and product quality assurance. Process and product quality assurance can be used with all the other process areas to objectively evaluate the process as well as the work products. So the British Standards Institution. So BSI is the British Standards Institution whose principal activity is the production of standard and standard related services. The first national standard body was established in 1991 in London. In 1964, BSI was instrumental in the formation of ISO. It currently has over 80,000 clients in 172 countries, with the majority of its revenue coming from management, system assessment, and certifications. The testing activities include new products as well as providing regulatory and quality management review for medical device and manufacturers worldwide. The market leader is this area is the healthcare market in the United States. So BSI is the world's largest certification body confirming beauty standards or BS certification, which show that the products of or service have been assessed and tested and meet the requirement of any related specifications. So some example of categories in BS quality standards include health and safety standards to reduce work-related illness and injury, including occupational health and safety, road traffic safety, and food management. A new standard for anti-bribery is a development to help organizations have procedures in place to prevent bribery and the associated financial costs. Building construction standards for architects, developers, building owners, contractors, and structural engineers. Risk management standards to help assess and management risk, including business continuity, data protection, and freedom of information. Security management include information, physical and vehicle insecurity, sorry, vehicle security and organizational governance and standards, including information systems and operations, organizational methods, procedures, and business continuity. Personal information management, including management and security of PIN numbers. So a published BS standard is the result of collaboration between BSI and a wide variety of high motivated experts in their field of work. Represent from many different organizations are also included to ensure that the standard reflects the need of diverse organizations. After the initial standard is written and steering committee has reviewed and provided possible revision, it is then sent to a public review panel and made available to the public. At this point, anyone can be submitted comments. British standards can only be conferred and a document by agreed process in accordance with by the laws of BSI and agreement by the BSI board. This approval confirms that all relevant procedures and responsibilities have been discharged. All published British standards are reviewed at least every 5 years. Errors may be corrected by publishing a corrective addendum. So last we have is IEEE, or stands for the Institute for Electrical and Electronics Engineers. It was started in 1884 when electricity began to influence society. Even though the initial focus was on electrical power, it soon began to focus on wired communications, telegraph, and telephone. Some of the early participants, including Thomas Edison and Alexander Graham Bell, IEEE is the world largest professional association for the advancement of technology and innovation for the benefit of humanity. Its membership has grown to include engineers and scientists in many fields. It is widely recognized for the development of industry standards for the electrical, electronics, and computing fields. To technical meetings and publications, the original electrical engineers professionals emphasize has expanded to provide benefits to various types of engineers worldwide. Okay. So IEE brings together individual and organization with a wide range of technical backgrounds worldwide to help develop standards and the other collaboration efforts to advance global technologies. Through these standards, through leaders are able to promote innovation, create and expand international markets, and help protect health and public safety. Some of the areas that are the subject of IEE standard includes the reliability of material and product, including the evaluation and testing used in the screen and selection of materials. Recommendations and tests for public functionality and com- compatibility compatibility between products, including enabling plug and play functionality, public health and safety ranging from healthcare devices to nuclear power generation, and many topics in between. Some areas of IEE standards include traditional topics of such as batteries, communications, electromagnetic compatibility, World National Electrical Safety Code, nuclear power, software and system engineering, and wired and wireless technology. Other standards such as consumer electronics, green and clean technology, healthcare, IT, nanotechnology, and smart grind relate to newer technical areas. An IEE standard project is initiated when a need for standardization of an idea or concept is recognized. A sponsor takes responsibility for the oversight, scope, and nature of content. A small working group is established to create a PAR document describing why the project should be done and when it will address. Upon PAR approval, a working group begins drifting an outline with subjects that will become the standards clauses. When the draft is stable, a balloting group from various interest categories is formed to gain consensus. After revision, individuals and organizations vote on the proposed standard. The IEEE Standards Board provides final approval. A standard is valid for 10 years. Reversion or extension can be appended as amendments after 10 years. It is either revised or withdrawn. In summary, The purpose of IEEE standard is to create industry standard for electrical, electronic, and computing fields. It is a set of standards that helps ensure reliability at materials and products, ensures public health and safety, and provide best practices for reviewing product interoperability. So that is our topic is all about quality methodology standards for project management. That's all, and thank you.